heart rages around like an ocean in my head. I can almost feel you walking in the distance, but I know that is not reality. If you are echoing around inside these parallel dimensions all alone, now I'll find you in my dreams.
Welcome everybody, I'm the Sith Trader. We're gonna get going early this morning. I've got some trades on already. Remember, trading features involves risk is not suitable for everyone. Everything you see here today is just my own opinion, not a direct trade recommendation. Look at the breakdown of these trades I'm taking. Kind of overhead green dots coming in. They'd probably would stop up to break even. This trade I got on would hit my quota for the day today on these MFFU rapids. Only make 1,500 a day or whatever, so I'm kind of riding out a trade that'll take me into the highs right now, and just gonna start locking in gains basically on the way up here. We'll get more going during the stream, don't worry. There's gonna be good trading today based off what I'm seeing. I'm also, as you guys know, short Bitcoin via my breakout account. My breakout funded account, which this is, I've been up late almost all night trying to fight if this trade to stay in. But there's a lot of good context for how and why I think we're going to 71K, which would be a massive payday. I mean, this is basically like a $15,000 trade I've got on. One trade, right? That's insane. Tell me a prompt for me can actually have that shot at. Use code Sith. No, but seriously, breakouts drop their prices. Pretty cool to see that. So, love to see that. All right, back to the NQs. Let's go over the trade that I'm kind of in right now. Last night we had a very successful Forcesweep, right? That 10-minute opening range broke lower. Market came up, traded the session VWAP, and then went on and took out the lows of the day at the time. It was a nice little trade. Market then basically, front ran that VWAP a couple times, got through it later in the session, arguably kind of became a Forcesweep long. Went up, took out the highs. I made a force push long back to highs once you have established both the VWAP, got acceptance, came back to test it at some point. And you can see this, rejection or absorption below the VWAP. It then swung to new highs of the day. That's a forced push. More or less the opposite idea, right? Like it's a failure to hold the VWAP in that downtrend. And then you get above, participation holds, and you have a move to the highs. Now we're flagging and showing more absorption above the VWAP for basically the whole night in London session. And I'm anticipating push two highs into the New York Open based off this trend line break. Based off some market internals I was watching. Hope it doesn't come down and get me here. But my stop's appropriate. Lock in. Gains at this point. If it doesn't go to target, there's going to be plenty more opportunities. In fact, if it gets taken out, I'll probably see a bigger pullback. That'll give me more of here we go. 1,100 bucks locked in. It's a decent little trade. I'm going over this setup that I had, and I'm trying to give it some room. Just in case it wants to go. Put my stop back down where it was, which I guess it was safe at 53 and 75 where I had it. almost got me, but it's a little too close for comfort. But look at that. They really got me there. Now if they bounce, I'd be really pissed, right? If they had just gotten me. I don't move stops a lot, but like, my job as a trader is to manage the position to maximize gains. I've got already, I mean, I could in theory bring this down to break even for myself, and it wouldn't be breaking my world. Oh man, they're gonna get me. They're gonna take me out. Such is life. Say a lot, right? Throw 900 on the day. Now actually I have a decent kind of setup to now watch. Okay, let me get the breakdown of what I'm watching, what I'm looking for. Bitcoin breaking down to new lows here. We're kind of going through low here, right? Expect a flush now down to that 7250 area. Yeah, it's gonna be like $6,000 in profits for me right there. That's gonna be hard not to take if it gets down there. But let's go over like the little couple trades I took this morning to add a few bucks to this account. I was up 600 basically coming into this morning. This hour something trend line and reaction off the VWAP just caught my eye. I was like, you know what? There's this little structure right here, which let's go back to in the 100 tick chart. There's this pullback right here. But like, you know what? We get, push through this level. I kind of want to take it, and I waited for the push through. And generally, I probably should have got in here versus here, but okay, waited for the push through, and then popped in. Just risk 20 to make 20. Trailed the stop up, got stopped out. I mean, arguably, I should probably have left that trade with just a break-even stop, and that could still be running it. But nevertheless, I got out, stopped out. Market came up, created another little bull flag opportunity. I go ahead, stop myself in above that high after a couple of rejections and a nice manipulation lower. Right, we come up, fill it, and that then provides the next series or breakout higher, right, that you just kind of witnessed and trade that I was in. Stopped out here could have done a lot better. If I was more aggressive with the stop, I should have probably stopped somewhere around here at 59s. I risked, okay, I risked 7 points there to see if it was going to be the, hey, we did new highs. It didn't. Now we've got a little bit of deeper retracement kind of happening here, so we're going to continue to watch this trend line off the highs. Basically, green dots are trying to form here into the New York Open, but we need some of those macros to open up for the day to really fill out the dots for us, so we'll see. Ooh, tempting here to get back in, but to be patient. Because it is, we are 15 minutes into the open. Oh man. We see some acceptance here. Probably mark it in for that push. Because this is a nice little rally so far. But if it just snaps back down, then I've got the high I want to break out into. Give it a second. Actually, I feel comfortable. The new stop like at 57s now. Yep. Maybe 57.25. Give it one more tick. Safely, it probably should be above 60s, but from a more safe perspective, yeah, 70, 57 is kind of holding its resistance right now. And see the reactions from it. Manipulation a little push lower. Carves out that, makes me feel like that high is the level I want to take on a breakout kind of thing. The 15-minute candle is a little failed auction like, right? You had this recovery back up, this U-shaped recovery in the 15-minute candles that brought us down, cuts the view up and back up. And now this next 15 minutes looks like a failed auction higher. It still has 2 minutes to go in it, and if we were to rally above 57s, right, that would make this candle not look so failed anymore. So I'm okay with the stop there into the end of the 15-minute candle because it could set the bar. Rally up, hit trigger that, and then the next 15-minute candle goes up, right? That's where you see that expansion in the range. They've already is coming down to testing these two, this recovery, U-shaped recovery high. We are failing kind of up into this resistance zone for the morning. I shouldn't say failing, but we're finding resistance. Very clearly up into this 30,360 to 30,370. Yeah, and so now this 15-minute close is making this look like a nasty failed auction higher. And for all intents and purposes, we have a big range on the day, and the view up all the way down below us here, 40 points below. So, I'm not going to be a buyer at this 57 area anymore. It came up in that moment. I saw exactly how range expansion could happen, and we could go higher. So we'll sit tight here. I have basically 1.5 R, excuse me, like 1.5 R to pass these, so I'll hit my max gain on the day on these MFFU rapids. My live account, I'm already kind of took my win for the day. I don't know if I'm going to press it on a Friday. But carrying $500 into $1,600 in a week, that's a good win. Basically a week of trading it just over. I seriously debated adding money to that account and that we could really step it up a notch, but you know what? I'm ready to stay the plan, and if I'm feeling super confident in my trading lately, that could just feel good. But the idea is to build that up to $5,000. I'll probably take the initial $500 out here soon. Maybe might make sense to do that now that I've pushed for about 1,000. But I kind of enjoy trading, now too with $1,600 account in the micros, of course, but in the micros. All right, long story short, my Lucid Pro fundeds already hit their $600 for the day. I'm not going to press those either on a Friday, so I'm just trying to get these MFFU evals. And by the way, anyone from MFFU is over there and can get a frickin' email from support about getting the Sith code going and becoming an affiliate, that would be greatly appreciated. Matt, I'm talking to you, buddy. No, where is your affiliate team? Why are we not ignoring the Sith Trader, man? I've submitted multiple times over the last several months and you hear nothing back from them. What can you do? My Roberts pulled back, the extra too many candles holding. The prior support holders have since here around this 30,030 area, but I'm not pressing it. This range highs for the moment seem to be kind of holding up there around 30,360. Definitely watching this kind of bear flag play out. It's becoming more of a downtrend than a bear flag at this point because we've kind of had this markings and stuff. And I am watching, by the way, Bitcoin as an analog here that's breaking and trying to now break below 73,000. Yeah, and I was an analog, but like a correlated study, trade, whatever. Correlated market right now. So, not to look, nearly 4,000 in profits over there. Heck, I'll bring the silver in for you guys. I took a loss at one point, so I'm sitting with a negative or near down on my balance. But this kind of the nature of these accounts, if they're able to swing them big and trade mass leverage as I do, that's kind of the nature of the game. Don't get knocked out. That's why I like the pros. Why is this called Turbo Eval up there? This is definitely my pro-funded 100K. It's weird. Stood so liar. Oh wait. Yeah, turn these off so you can actually see everything here. Kind of where my account and everything stands at this point, you'd see down here. So this trade is amazing. All of this free basically got me back to break even at this point on the account. But everything below this is going to be 10,000 plus, $13,000 of profit on top of that. And that's the risk I'm taking, right? If this account cost me $600, right? 600 something to get, that's pretty expensive. But when you consider what it allows you to do, which is basically trade a 6 watt in Bitcoin, that same margin over at Hyperliquid or other places, you can't do that with $600. You could leverage up that $600 in Bitcoin and have the same trade on, but you only have $600 of less of that. You have like a couple $100 of actual room before the market starts liquidating and kicking you out. Here, you put on a 6 lot. I've got $3,000 a day of drawdown over 2 days, so $5 grand total. So call it $2,500 each day of total drawdown. Now we're talking about, potential to swing a big bat. Stops at basically a break even for me on that trade. I'll probably, if we break down the lows, down to 72, 7250, my stop will go down to 7,300 area, which is right where we're at in the market right now, which will lie my account back to basically the break even as you see my total equity is above the 100,000 mark, but my balance is below because of one, the costs. Look at this. It's like the trade that'll show the fees on the trades. This is the drawdown of trading Bitcoin in the size of Bitcoin 2. Just to get in short, it cost me $200 in just a fee alone, right? And then, you're marketing in, so the market, you probably have $20 or $30 spread on the market. Times 6 units, that's another $100 to $200 of just unrealized loss right off the bat. So the second you take a max leverage trade with 100K and And this isn't anything it's, against breakout. This is, unfortunately, the fees, they reflect the fees in crypto. It's just really expensive. And so it's like a $500, $400 to $500 in, $300 to $500 in fees. And slippage when you're getting in and out of these markets with like a 6 lot, right? Which, okay, you can see here that on a $700 move, it's $4 grand in profit. So it's, this market moves thousands of dollars a day. The potential to make ridiculous amount of money for low risk is there. So on a $600 bet to buy this account, I already hit a profit target of $12,000 on one trade, right? I'm shooting for a $12,000 profit target on this trade too. Okay, I want to flip back over to the NASDAQ real quick because we are kind of coming above that trend line off the highs. Yeah, I don't want to be, I would be a buyer here about the 47s, 47.75 if it happens. Kind of like let the move happen because we dipped down quite a bit. Okay, oh, don't just come tag me like that. All right, I'm going to check real quick to see where basically $650 of profit is, because I don't want to ride this trade beyond that. It's the upside, so that's my upside target. It's $650, which is up at 80, so that still takes me into a new high for the day from here. I'm risking 20 to start, but I'm going to be trying to stop up very aggressively. I don't see any reason to have it basically below 35.50 at this point. Don't manipulate it back down and into the stop. Come on, you're below that trend line. Hold that trend line now. The support. Come on, find this new little trend line off the lows of support too, where they kind of intersect. We get a nice bounce from here. If not, it's gonna probably take me out, but I'm risking $245 to make $650 and hit my count on the day. And by the way, I'm going to be trying to stop up aggressively, right? If this starts to go, which I'm liking the 15-minute candle we're seeing develop. We got 5 more minutes in that, so that could go either way. But 1 minute chart didn't really take out that high. Kind of tipped me in. That's not typical. Usually the tip chart is a lot cleaner. I'm willing to bet also the anchor VWAP from the swing low has traded, and there it is. That actually was the support that we had, so you just take swing low here. We do it from here, it doesn't really matter. But this last test of the VWAP, right? And there we go. There's my move. LFG, baby. All right, stop's going to go to break even. Oh, no, stop's up to 41.5 right now. Just below this low. I want to see one more push up to 60 to get it here, because the reason I say that is we got some trend lines here against the lows, right? I'd love to see that trend line come up. Okay, forget it. Stops to break even. As I said, we're going to start trying to lock in some gains on this here shortly. Hopefully they don't decide to do a big pullback. I'd really like to see just a push up or the open to a new high today. Fill that 80 target for me. Finish these accounts out for the week. I'm going to bring that stop up though to 53.50 now. Can't not lock in gains on a trade like this. 50. Yeah, that's fine for now. That's what Bitcoin doing. Oh yeah, we're continuing to break down over there. That's my concern about the B on the S&P as it's pushing the highs and Bitcoin rolling over. The two have been pretty well correlated the last few days with the NASDAQ. And did I say the S&P? I meant the NASDAQ. Being long the NASDAQ. But not long the S&P. Fuck the S&P. They're, well, starting to set up maybe into a little consolidation in itself. Where I have half a mind of booking profits to get him back in about 58s on a breakout now. Yeah, I should have. There's that. Where's that washout that took me out? Alright, stop was hit. Where the buy stopped in. Holy cow, that was quick. I basically marketed back in where to put the stop. Down there at 51 order. Oh, we're going in the open here. I need to be a little less aggressive here with this. I also need to check my account balance here. I can only basically make $450 on this trade. But I can't go over 1,500 because of the consistency score for 2 days. So I'll set that to 450. It was 81. It's basically the same target we had before. Market's coming up. About to put stop and break even. So we're minutes away from the open. Kind of a failed auction here to get back up there. Yeah, I'm going to put my stop at 57s now. Just below my entry. Stop's going to go to... Oh man, don't get me. Stop's going to break even here real soon at 58.75 if it can get one push higher. And... waiting, littering and... Boking the reefer. Come on. Oh, come on. Damn it. Alright, I'm going to sit out now. We're going to let the open happen. I got a hunch it might come all the way back down here. This is yet another reaction and push up into that high of the day and failure. And fuck, there it goes. That's alright. We're going to have plenty of opportunity for me to get another trade on this today. Way out of a trade. I hate that. Bitcoin breaking below those few levels now. No real front line to be had. Probably going to come back up to meet some resistance at some point. I have to be the seventh effect or a rally, $300-$400. But like, you're just going to watch me print on this son of a bitch. But for the rest of the day. I would want to see some major downside just to get my Bitcoin position in. But, wow, it's a bummer. This trade should have been the one to finish me for the day, but I made it to the open. I'm going to actually, where the heck are... Gonna get rid of all these drawings. Clean up my chart for the open. And get ready for the New York Open here, which we're basically starting at the highs. So I would bet we're going to get that spike high and then boom, 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 back down for the day. Oh yeah, there goes the move I'm trying to get in on. Just a matter of execution here. Execution kind of kept me, I was too conservative on it. That's fine. I'd rather play a good defense. That is a new, looks like a new tick up into the new high. Is it? Yep, barely into the new highs here. Bitcoin not really catching a bit so far for the more, here. We'll see. Down a little bit. And there goes the S&P or the NASDAQ. Hot damn. That was the trade I wanted, the move I wanted. What can you do? We are a long ways off from the R1 for the day, but we have busted basically into new highs. And the market's already coming back down. This is kind of let's be cautious here, all right? Because that was a 40-point drop in the market in seconds and right back up. Bitcoin is falling and continuing to sell off while the S&P or the NASDAQ's making highs. Kind of breaks that correlation a bit here. You get a naked VWAP from the last test of the VWAP here that comes in as support around this 30,400 area or 30,360, the old highs, which is kind of trading and holding. This weather's moving around a lot, so we need to be very cautious here. And timing of everything's going to be important. Yeah, look at that. While the NASDAQ is trying to push highs, Bitcoin's trying to break its lows. Something is a bit broken there. Alright guys, we're going to give this a couple minutes to let it fill out this opening range anyway. And kind of see what happens. It's all green dots, but I mean, you're at all-time highs. Wait for some market context in the setup to occur. I do think, right, there's a high probability it could still keep squeezing. Long ways up to the RT pivot, right? So another 100 points or so. Or R1, excuse me, pivot, right? Yeah. But Kind of like the open kind of play out, and then I would not be surprised to see it test all the way back down to 30,360. But then, if there'll be something to do. Let's just gotta be patient and wait for it. Heck, I want to pass. I want to finish out the day with these. So. Yeah, about 50 years I've pulled back. And I kind of was referencing and somewhat expecting. Okay. Right back up off that anchored VWAP, right back up into the NYSE session VWAP. Let's just let this cool. There's arguably, I got a 25 tick. I need to make this a 100 tick chart. No wonder I was trailing so aggressively. Bomb execution was a little overtly aggressive. I'm willing to buy stock in. Oh wow, I'm already back in. For a push here, that's a break even. I need to make sure my target is not more than $450. Oh fuck, I'm just closing it. All right. That was almost perfect for me. Wow, that was quick. Failure, make a new high. Darn, I could have had it there. I'm not going to press these accounts anymore. Well, could say that I love one more. Bitcoin now getting a decent bounce. And this is bounce to kind of have to be expected at some point. It's the type of bounce that you just hope it doesn't come all the way back up and frustrate you. It gets you. I need a 40 for 40 here. All I can make is 200 bucks more here. Bitcoin basically coming up right to test old support now resistance. I'm expecting market to continue lower here. Or from somewhere on a trend line off of highs. Let's look back over, take a look at our cues. I mean, I'm definitely interested in a long here if it provides it. The back above 19s. I'm only looking for 40. I'm trying to scalp out of a trade here for less than 200. For about $200 in profit because that will max me for the day. But above 19s here, I want to be a potential buyer for that quick. 10-point pop. Maybe getting free. And targets fill done for these accounts on the day. Wow, Bitcoin's really coming up. Totally to be expected though with these. With this type of volatility here. Maybe look at that real quick for myself. Yeah, right up into the day, that anchor VWAP off of highs. I mean, talk about that analog though. Look into the analog. That's kind of that ghost pattern behind. I'm expecting a bounce in this area, which we've done. We roll over and head down now to 72,400. I'll be in the game. Not unexpected to see some broken supportive areas now come in as resistance here in this market. My stops are I'm totally comfortable with my stop locking in a little bit of gain. Due to the cost of the trades out there, I do think it's going to roll over here, which leads me to believe the NASDAQ could be getting a little long in the tooth. That's $1,600 in profit on the day for me for these MFFUs. I think it's 2 days to pass on the rapid, so I can't take any more trades in them, but I'm definitely going to be calling out some other trades and ideas here for everybody. For those that don't know how Lethal Conto works, maybe it takes some time here to talk about. How do I get it right here? No. Found a way to always on top. Perfect. Now it's not. Alright, so you got my... There, really. I'm gonna update this window. Hold on. Alright, so Rebel Content's pretty cool. It's set up to basically trade. You guys have never seen this before. It's a Ninja Trader add-on, paid add-on that I use to manage my... I used to manage my... my copy trading, and it's pretty simple. I've got my 5 MFU accounts here. The leader is a SIM account. Right now, I always trade in that SIM, and then it replicates the ATMs and everything. I'm simply just going to turn them off right now, all 5 of them, so that now I can just trade the SIM account without actually firing off copy trades. And effectively, kind of be done for the day with those, because I can't actually make more of them, or consistency scores get botched. Bitcoin get absolutely rejected at that resistance at the anchored session VWAP. The anchored VWAP from this high. I don't know why that isn't working here on this chart. Whatever. We'll see. NASDAQ still pushing up into highs. They didn't do it. One of my son named potty trained and just did the number 2, which is amazing. But not that you guys care So we got green dots. We're coming out of the fourth, the opening minute, the opening ranges here. I mean, we got upside towards that target up here. You know, now that I'm free to trade my account how I would without worrying about consistency scores, because I'm just going to demo trade the rest of the day for everybody. I mean, nothing changes the idea that we are in this uptrend. We're above all of these things, and I want to buy stuff. This is my entry there. Maybe for the good. But definitely, yep, no, I want to try this out. That's unfortunate. I had to step away for a second. It came down and got me in my stop. I probably forced that trade a little bit too much there. Should have waited for this market structure and then the breakout of that. All right, that's my 2020 hindsight. On this 01, that's okay. I'll do some work to get that back here today. Bitcoin coming back up as well. But testing into that same kind of broken resistance now, broken support, now resistance area. This 72,200 to 400s. And testing that anchored VWAP off the highs. I mean, that whole we roll over, it's down to 7250, taking out these lows pretty quickly. We'll see. That makes me concerned about the NASDAQ up at these levels and heading up into, basically heading up into this, genuinely, okay, now I see, you know, an area in the market to potentially buy stuff back into. You've had some manipulation. Honestly, this throw your target all the way up to like 510 into the pivot, just in case it goes like crazy. But we want to get aggressive on trying to stop up here. Oh no. Man, that's two. Giving back here. Arguably could have gotten free on that one, and I'm not. We just sit back and wait here at highs. I mean, I want to give back a good day, right? By chopping myself up the highs. that was reduced risk trade, but then minus this one was a full, almost full risk on it. Or it was full risk, so it's like minus 1.5 R. I was up, 5 or 6 R, what's 15? Almost, 4 R, excuse me. So that's unfortunate. So like, I got taken out on the manipulation twice here. I'm a little early to my trade, so I need to be more patient, right? Don't want Bitcoin coming all the way back up here again. Is this where it breaks the analog and then been screaming higher though? I don't know. I'd hate to see this thing scream back up for another freaking test of this 7,400 level and then drop like this. It would be just like Bitcoin to do it though. However, there's definitely trendline resistance before then. Old support, now resistance. And I'm not certain how much in terms of legs and those they're going to have. From here, right? You got the pivot up there at 30,500. We're getting close to that for the day. It's all green dots. The first fair value gap after all green dots traded way down here. Man, another little instance where execution, right, can make or break your day, right? I got more or less bunted out on those 2 breakout trades, which that's kind of the nature of the beast. Gonna let the market setup here with a much cleaner, clearer setup for me. I do think it's due for a bit of a pullback here, which makes me hesitant to really do anything, right, without good market structure. Coin kind of roll it over yet again here. Off that anchored VWAP. And again, this is all after a larger anchored VWAP here. That's kind of dictates the downtrend there. You can make a case for one that should begin from up at this level, which would be my next level to get short in Bitcoin if it, does come up. Honestly, if it comes all the way back up to 74s, it's very likely going to go through and up to 74.50 into that val area, the recent profile. But there's a lot there that I think with good reason why the scenario on this trade, certainly if it pushes through the lows here, 72,800. And then that 72,500, I mean, it's going to be right down into my target. The target from the street comes from that anchored VWAP, which at the point it traded, if you look at the lower band, number 3 standard deviation, that becomes a downside target for me, which is why I marked the target at 71,200. That's where that price came from. And we also have that analog, right? That when you go back, and I took basically it's an analog snapshot in TradingView. This one, and it produced that, right? You can see that analog profile played out multiple times. If you look through, it's a typical pattern for Bitcoin of this test and retest of areas. Just put the one side of it, right? Starting where this other one began, where it began. Obviously, this was a much larger consolidation, but when I bring it over to match the peak to the peak and kind of then bring it down to match where that peak is, you can see how we go from what was a much larger down to what we refer to as a fractal. And it fits like a glove so far. So you're even getting that little bit of a bounce. But maybe I'll make it a little lighter so we can see it better. You can get this. I mean, you're getting a bounce or reaction from about the same place in it. So acceleration lower if it starts to smoke the lows here is a real concern for the bulls. Green dots were heading higher. I'm not thinking about anything but being a buyer. They had 2 attempts on my breakouts, those whatever they're called. I do think I just kind of missed a fair value gap trade there. You'd see this little fair value gap traded all green dots. I arguably already traded the first fair value gap after all green dots this morning. It was inside the opening range for the market, so it was a tough take. I actually took a breakout trade at that time, so I wasn't able to take the fair value gap trade when I had already taken the trade to finish. But the next one kind of traded here. It would look something like this. And by the way, we're heading up into that R2, R1 pivot for the day, so heads up, expecting some resistance. But there was a little, maybe 60 risk reward ratio trade here. The idea was market came up, all green dots, first fair value gap. They come down and actually trade, right, that fair value gap level, or just to push into new highs, risking 1-to-1 risk ratio. Simple as that. Arguably, this is a trade where any trade taken up there, I would be personally throwing the target in up at the pivot and then trying to trail stop so that it doesn't take me out. You saw me try that twice this morning and get taken out. And here we go. Bitcoin slipping back down to 73,000. Alongside NASDAQ making its high for the day, right into that R1 pivot. I'm going to be a betting man and say we're about to break the high for the day for the NASDAQ. Even though we're in green dots and everything, by all means, it's just something's off here. And look at the reaction so far into that pivot. Be careful here with longs, even though it's green dots. The probability of a sharp pullback into the day session VWAP. OMX VWAP, which is all the way down there at 30,355. The NYSE session VWAP at 30,432. Only swing anchor, right, from the last time we traded the VWAP. There's this big blue line at 30,400. So those are big levels below us that could provide support. Resistance for kind of coming up into where I would feel that resistance would be. So, you can have a big range here for the day now between 30,500 and 30,300 and still be relatively bullish. That would probably flip, right as we start to roll back over here or start to change, right? They're not going to stay green as we start to come down, and that will be a signal to, hey, heads up. Market might be heading into some form of consolidation here. Let's be patient with whatever we're doing. Bitcoin finding a little support back there at 73,000. What's going on with my CVD? Let's save this chart and reload it. CVD is the CVD or my Bitcoin's hour, okay? And there it is. All right, let's take a look at the buyer and participation on this move so far. Basically, the volume spike of buyers down here, obviously defending the lows. The issue with these buyers in this last 15 minutes is while it's new open interest and new buyers coming in, the book is just, CVD is just failing. Like, this is not a bullish book right now as we're rolling over. So you've had basically a lot of liquidation and a short covering rally, which is what more or less this rally was right here. Or I talked about this before, 72,000. This rally from 72,500 up into their VWAP. It was effectively, and this bottom line is open interest, it was liquidations. This is just short covering. This was a nuance coming in the market on that rally. And the book built right? So something, a lot of longs that were just effectively absorbed into the VWAP. And then now we started to roll over from it. Continued liquidations because longs trying to come in here and we're getting burnt out. And now you've got maybe a little bit of defense down here that is gonna become, in my humble opinion, the cannon fodder for potential, new lows. Any of those new buyers down here, their stocks follow this lower. What'll be the accelerant lower if it goes? That's a big if. Well, maximum NASDAQ for a second, we are green dots and we're still pressing up into that high that is 30,500 area. R1 pivot for the day. I'm still anticipating a healthy pullback. Not that I would place a trade based off that anticipation. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be something to watch here for us. We're coming in on the 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock a.m. Central close. So, the hourly candle is looking mighty bullish there, folks. It's a good look for it up there. Wow. How come when I just switched to the hourly, the pivot's completely changed? What am I missing about? What do I do with my pivots on these time frames? Can anyone answer that question for me? I'm trying to use the daily base values. Like nothing about this pivots indicator, but when I switch to the hourly, it's completely fucking different. What the fuck? I'm actually at a loss of words right now. I have no idea why that could be. But I'm going to trust what I see on the minute chart because, frankly, that has very much worked, and it just, I trusted the levels on the 1 minute chart that I had, but now I don't know what to think. Yeah, that 100 tick chart looks clean, but I would be very concerned if we start to break, basically a trend line that's holding us up here to some regard, right? Not that I would get short because it's green dots and we're at all-time highs and all these things, but these two trend lines against the lows on my 100 tick chart, they're levels to watch because if they start to give, you could definitely get, I think, some downside in many regards. And again, if you're looking at the confluence for between or a correlation between Bitcoin and NASDAQ, which there has been a strong on recently, today it is completely decoupled. And now that I'm thinking of it, it's the last day of the month. Usually the last days of the month into the first few days of a new month, those correlations all break down as algorithms retrain themselves more or less, or they rebalance things. And we're pushing through. Arguably, a bit of a breakout trade there that could have happened because it's against the level, right? And once you push through one of these big levels, you're going to get that move. But let's see if this is a failed auction or the start of something new. It's either going to, now that we're into the daily pivot, it's either going to, now that you're into the daily pivot, it's going to, or into that R1 resistance, I should say, it's either going to hold it, which it just did, as support and push through, or it's going to be a failed auction. This is all going to become the top that we roll over from and fall back down. So we could make a case that NASDAQ's going to start dragging everything else, including Bitcoin, higher, but this is a big move so far. And I waited for it to be more than just this single straight line higher to give us more dynamic price action to trade. But it's been longs all morning. Breakouts, you just got to make sure you stop isn't tight enough. Trail it, but don't get it whipped and, hang on for the ride, so to speak. We can go back to the lo-fi music, man. I want Irish on stream too, brother. When we gotta have our chat with Austin too. Austin Clark wants to sit down and pick each other's brains. I think there's a number of traders out there that, not that you all, I high regard for all of you in here, but there's a number of traders out there that I'd say, and I'd probably speak in for Irish when I say this too, that, you know, we respect the opinions of and that are truthfully like spot on when it comes to the way they look and think about the markets. It may not be exactly like what I do or what we do, but that's what makes the market so cool. It's like guys can have their models that do more or less the same thing I'm looking at, but rely completely on completely different things. Yesterday we were looking at that in the room we were like where the VWAP, it was actually last night's Gold X Orb Forcesweep. Go check that video out. That was a really clean, great session last night if you want to learn about the Forcesweep. But okay, now that we're above this high, I'd love to see one more push down. Give me a reason, you know, one more manipulation lower. This will give me a reason to be a buyer up here. There you go. Now I've got a good reason to want to be a buyer above 35 quarter, which is, yeah, we're buying into new highs for the day. But I'm seeing all green dots above the arch, one pivot. It's got room up to that 30,720 if it wants to go. And it's around, you know, a breakout through these highs where I do feel I could get free. And I would actually love to see a little more manipulation lower and then, you know, a move higher. Bitcoin is unrelenting down here, but it's become a de-risked a little bit of a bear flag too. Pretty clear to me that somebody's attaching themselves to a trend line that if it breaks, we could be heading lower. NASDAQ is flirting with that. Did exactly as I hope. Give me another level of manipulation lower. Makes this level I'm trying to buy stop into against the highs, you know, more of a take for me because now I'm really looking at and all the way back up, and it gains that strength, right? Like always tempted to buy down here to test if this old trend line now support and the R1 pivot, but it's not the trade to take because we slid below this pivot. This trade kind of, you know, doesn't become a trade for me really much anymore because I think we'd be breaking more or less the trend line that we've been folding up a whole morning, and we could see that deep pullback now happen. And I'd welcome it with open arms because it will just give us good setups, I think, for the rest of the day, whether it's flipping and becoming shorts. You know, if we really start to break below any one of these three, the red, white, and blue, America, VWAPs, your NYSE session, you're anchored. It's the blue, and then the Globex session's the white, which arguably I don't know why. It's not like a thicker wine. There we go. That was bothering me. Yada. Now we're seeing the head and shoulders pattern form. And arguably, you know, there could be a little bit of a short here below 30,500. Not one I would take because, and by the way, I'm canceling my order all at the highs because we're going to be getting probably in some other form of trendline resistance now. If it forms with the right shoulder forming, that I'll buy the buy stop of if it goes. Because it is all green dots, we are still we're testing below that R1 pivot again. Basically finding the old support again. And now I'm interested in, well, excuse me. Now I am interested in where short-term bear flag resistance forms. Here we go. There's the breakdown. It's just head and shoulders pattern, folks. If you've never aren't familiar, left shoulder, head, right shoulder, neckline. The neckline breaks here. It's be stable at 30,050. You run the risk of retracing basically the entire leg that laid up into it, which, I mean, arguably it's probably only down to 30,400, somewhere in there, but it very likely should take you down, or take us down into these VWAP below and what have you. Coming back up here, another kind of test of the right shoulder, perhaps, right? You got maybe more of a defined neckline now. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. What I want to see now is manipulation, kind of back down, some chop, and then, maybe another couple tests of this, of some new trend line forming off the high, through this high that then, I can actually take a breakout of. Because again, it's green dots. A breakout back above 30,520 at this point probably will lead to a new high. But I'm being cautious here because you definitely have some kind of trend line support that if it breaks, we're so lofty. It's been up and up all morning. I am, obviously, you can probably tell, and since this high, right, CVE, you can see here, on the chart is being, kind of rolling over. It was very bullish, right, from the lows. We built a big bullish order book, and order flow was buy side only for the most part. Getting ready here maybe to mark it into a trade, but gonna give it, let it kind of work itself out. I don't want to get ticked in, then my face ripped off, right? And I don't love that, right? We're finding resistance at the dots, and that Bitcoin is starting to break down that trend line. But it's following this analog pretty closely. Order book in Bitcoin has been bearish, still continues to build the shorts. It had a little bit of open interest building here, but that now, this open interest is starting to look like shorts coming in, not longs building at these levels. Because we're now breaking below technicals. If open interest is going up while we're going down, that's shorts piling in, especially when you see negative CVD and a trend lower in CVD. Which, okay, that just adds to the idea that the market is very more bearish. But down to that neckline again on this chart. Let's see if that is the break that sends us lower for the morning. Green dots, so I'm not looking to get short, but like from a technical perspective, that break in that little blue line on my ninja chart is kind of the sell stop on a head and shoulders pattern with the left shoulder, right shoulder neckline. I don't trade that pattern, but I've of course looked for it on the charts. But I think I like baiting with failure of them, like it came down and broke the neckline, but then you come back up to break this right shoulder. It usually then goes into like, it's like a 90 percentile type trade that it'll go and bust out the high. Which by all means, this trend line off the highs becomes very interesting to me if we cannot make progress lower. If we can confirm that, CVE starting to turn here, so maybe some buying is coming back into the order book, right? You get participation. The rest is history. I already believe we've got a trend line now from like lows of the day. Well, not really. That's the 1 minute chart, who cares? And they're still coming down here. So heads up, look out below. Dots are green. But we're getting that nice retracement now from that early morning push. I mean, honestly, since 7:30 a.m. Central, 8:30 Eastern, there is no reason to be anything but a buyer in this market. Dots flipped green. We're holding anchored VWAP off the lows. We're above all the day session VWAPs. Market effectively broke out of this trend line, which was a kind of some kind of short-term trend line, as well as, or like bottling the market up, so to speak, against the VWAPs. But that's where I actually started taking trades this morning, started getting long. But around 7, if we go back to them, in fact, before I got on the stream here, 7:30, and literally the break of this trend line was my first long. Tried to get in again, right as the market started to break out in this little area. Had a couple scalps there that worked something. And then, waited basically until we got all the way up here to 30,042, this little area on the chart where we had some consolidation, right? And then a breakout of the highs of the day. Was able to scalp out, winner there, a couple winners that finished my day with my MFFU. All right, that is a move down into the NYSE session and anchored session VWAPs off the lows. Let's flip over because this can become, a reason now to think about a trade perhaps that we've had to pull back. Market's getting a reaction higher. Let's start to draw up and find out where trend lines are on that 100-tick chart. And we're starting to kind of head into and trying to break above one right now. I want to see, there's probably going to be a move lower. To kind of, I don't know, fill out this a little bit. Is my ninja frozen? What's going on here? Yeah, my ninja chart is totally frozen. What? Wait, I disconnect and reconnect real quick. Oh, anyone else having trade of 8 issues now? This is probably trade of 8. Wow, that is just obnoxious. Oh my gosh. Like, I've really missed setups with my charts first. You guys all saw that, right? Wow, that pisses me off. Because, hey, my first setup would have been buying here, maybe here. That's okay. We've got now, let's focus on the prize at hand and focus on what matters. You've got a trend line off the highs here that just came in as resistance. A good level that hopefully float open a little bit of a bull flag on this 100-tick chart, and a reason that I can get in for, the rest of the move higher back to highs if it comes. Green dots still on that pullback. I mean, arguably, you had a 15-minute range break, push up in the highs, and the NYSE session orb traded, and definitely could have gotten you free. Right, and so that's the NYSE session orb trade is just I use a 15-minute opening range. It broke higher, and at first, really, there wasn't a test of this NYSE session VWAP until just now, just 3 minutes ago, where we got a great reaction of it with all green dots. I mean, that's a take 10 times out of 10 for many people, I would say, or it's a good reason to think about and watch some of these levels. New little trend line coming off. Most aggressive one where I could have positioned for the whole swing already happened. Now I've got to kind of wait for, personally I wait for the break of this aggressive trend line in hopes that it will lead to a push to break this trend line where you could maybe even add to a position, but I'm not going to get greedy. Coming in for a second test of that the NYSE session VWAP, that anchor session VWAP, remain just front on. CBD is had a nice reaction higher there, and she built up some positivity, but kind of rolling over. You can see here though, in the pullback in price, CBD isn't coming down to a new low in the very short term. So that's a pretty good thing and a good signal that the market is finding some kind of support for the time being, or is well supported from the levels that we bounced from. But what I still like is you're coming back down to test the levels you bounced from, right? And rather aggressively in kind of a V-shaped sell-off. But we got to be really, really careful here. Reload historical data when that happens. Yeah, let me figure out how to do that for next time. Right here, we should reload all historical data. That's the one, Control-Shift-R. I'll remember that. Fucking trade of 8. In Ninja. I mean, I can't complain too much, right? Bitcoin trying to come back up a little bit here and bounce, but I think it's nesting solidly into a downtrend. And probably in a build-up, a little bit of build-up a little bit here. Wow, NASDAQ right back down. This extremely aggressive trend line. There's a reason I follow these things on the 100-tick chart. Come down for another test here. Let's see if it goes, because if we're gonna get this right here, but like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna put some bias up here, 47.50, risk 20 to make 20, but if I get into this, I'm putting my targets all, way higher. If it fills, because right now market is pulling back. All green dots we're testing now into the second test of a NYSE session VWAP. The anchored VWAP from the swing low here is trading. Day session VWAP, the Globex one, is all the way down here, way below us still. So almost 40 points below us at 30,382. Dots are still green, but the way I got a hunch, they're gonna start to flip some form of, they're gonna start to flip a little bit on us, which might put me sidelined for a little bit. It's definitely a bit of a I've changed some of my orders and I'll mark it in if we start to see a little pushback up to 30-40s or something, but this market is really getting hammered kind of on relentlessly, and Bitcoin sell-off is not helping right now. Again, that correlation is coming back a little bit here now. Even though, and by the way, right, we talked about earlier, the trend line up, once that finally fucking broke, just let it drop. Even with green dots. That's so many levels down below us, like into the New York, the Globex session, VWAP, as well as those old finds we broke out from that the market looks like it wants to trade into. But it's the green dots, and if we get a solid reversal setup that, I would take it, but yet. This is a mixture of like using all the tools at hand, right? Like green dots would keep you just trying to buy into this. Granted, it gave a great reaction from the lows you want, right? You were playing the orb trade this morning at Warp to get you free. There's no reason you should have taken a stop out untested and NYSE session VWAP there. I mean, you would have gotten stop right, but like a losing money. Should have been able to buy it. Trial stop, get free, maybe even take a solid 50-point winner. And then the market comes down and gets you. It sucks, but let it go. There's better levels. All right, so we had dots are very mixed down here, or they just went mixed for a minute on that sell-off. So if we start to break below 30,400, I imagine it's going to kind of flip the script on them. I'm hesitant to buy this trend line, but it is. Let me see if I get manipulation off of it, like a little push lower, not even all the way down to lows, but just a reaction lower to then come back up. All right. Oh, sorry, I freaked myself out there. I'm on from 23 something to just kind of market it in. A little aggressive. I'm throwing my targets just way the heck up there because we're really just going to trail stops here on this type of trade. I'm going to get free here very soon if it allows me. Ooh, I don't like this trade at all anymore. Yeah. A little aggressive there. Now dots are going mixed, so I'm going to sit on my hands after that little stop out. That was quick. You can see how, okay, there was some momentum that took you almost 10 points higher, but you had to trail that stop in right away, and I was literally hesitated a second, and it didn't do it. Market went down and found a new low. Dots are flipping a little mixed here, and we're heading into that Globex session VWAP, so Bitcoin's also starting to sell off now down below that figure. 7,300s is clear to the downside. I mean, 7,250s is next, and then below there, I think it right down into hopefully into my target 70. That'd be a nice day. I could close out my trades right now and take a $3,000 payout, $2,800 payout, but not gonna lie, I put in a lot of work to stay in this trade, and I want to stay in it. But there's the manipulation. I'm getting back in on NASDAQ right here. Against finding the dots a little bit, but stops at break even at 27s. All right, just let this short squeeze take me. Stops at 35.50. I am using a 100-tick chart. Okay. Out for a quick 26 to 35. It's almost $200. We're starting to find now, all right, head up into now the anchored, that old anchored VWAP doesn't matter to me anymore. The NYSE session VWAP though, resistance 30,450 could be interesting. I want to make sure Bitcoin continues to just break down here. I want to see a flush, baby. $1,000 lower hits my peak profit target and be a nice $10,000 plus payday. So even after the 90% split, I gotta focus on that today because I'm getting paid over there right now, being short Bitcoin. Not a trade I want to give up. No offense over here, demo and sim trading, because I'm done with my MFFU rapids for the day. I can't make more than 1,500 on them because of consistency, and hopefully I'll pass them then, come back Sunday night, Monday night, pass them. Live account, already have my $140, so I wanted to make them that, for the day. My goal is like $100 a day. I'm at $500 live account that's down to 16. $100, and then like my Lisa Pros, I hit a $600 target. It can't really do much more than that per day. I mean, you can, but that's more than enough for me for a day. Market pulling back here, I mean, goes to show you a little bit of the choppiness that we're dealing with mixed dots now, right? Market's telling you something, right? We're slipping below, macros are flipping a little bit. This is selling pressure. And frankly, if you break below the day session VWAP at this point, and this recent lull, I mean, you're going to start retracing the day, and there's a lot of room to the downside. And you can argue that even, this big old trend line that was very supportive on the chart coming up, and arguably almost got front right this morning, is still below us, and we could come down for tested it. And then ultimately probably a break, because this looks like consolidation, big break, failed auction, and coming back down again below 30,300 for the NASDAQ, I think probably flips the script and we get a little more bearish in the short term. And again, this is also maybe a little biased because of the correlation with Bitcoin, but Bitcoin looks like it's about to fucking flush. I think about $1,000 to $1,500 lower. I've got my trade on betting on exactly that. In my breakout funded account where you can check them out, they've got really reduced their prices across the board 20 to 40%. It's kind of what got me back to using them. They were a little expensive for a bit there, but that's a function of a couple things, like Bitcoin being half the value it was a couple months ago doesn't justify the higher cost of those accounts right now either. And then two, right, the pro account, the 100K Pro I got, which is like $600. It's no joke. It's a lot. $12,000 target, with basically $5,000 drawdown over, 2 days. You have a daily max limit too. Don't hit that daily limit because that is a hard breach over a breakout, but it's pretty easy to do some math and put your stops accordingly. NASDAQ's coming down here still. I think that day session, that global session VWAP's due for a test. And here we're coming into it right now. Running that low again, mixed dots, heads up. CVD has been actually building a little negative here on this downtrend, so not unexpected to see this. Bitcoin continues to melt lower. I'm on my hands. There's more setups to take. We'll put them together. I'll value the stream another half-hour max because it's a Friday, and after 11 a.m., 10 a.m. East Central, 11 a.m. Eastern, I don't really believe in trading much on a Friday. If you don't have it by now, right by then, you're not going to get it. You're just going to force trades. Sometimes Friday afternoons could be really cool, but, once you get in towards that New York lunch hour, trade kind of dries up for a bit and might come back in the afternoon. But I don't stick around. I'm touching grass. My week's usually done. If I'm down 1 hour on the day, I'm not going to try to get it back because it'll become a 2 hour, then minus 2 or 3 hour day, right? If I'm up at that point, go home with a win for the weekend, even if it's $0. That's a huge mental win for the weekend, right? You ended the day and maybe the week profitably. That's your goal right now. It's just don't fucking give back all the 5 days of hard work you just did. Breaking below that global session VWAP on kind of a dumping push here in CVD as well. So this could be this manipulation, so to speak, or this push below the level and into the opening 50-minute opening range for the day and the day session low. Yeah, it looks like it could crack the I mean, this is a complete reversal, and I wouldn't even call it a failed auction. It was a successful move up into the R1. Pivot for the day. So far, that's become the freaking high. 2020 hindsight, wow, we could have just sold the hell out of it, but we had all green dots. You had reason to believe you were getting reactions from the NYSE session VWAP up here. I am going to now put up the anchored VWAP from the highs, which is aligning with the NYSE session VWAP. So the fact that we're not getting any reaction from the global session VWAP says to me there's nothing attached. Dots are trying to go green here, or red, and wow, they're 1 dot away from flipping basically. So shorts are definitely coming back into the picture. we're fitting down into that level that I talked about earlier, the old high of the day, and this consolidative high that we're breaking down below at this point. This is where the whole day is completely flipped on its head in terms of the what you were thinking, right? It was bullish and no reason to be a seller until the warning signals were given. You sit on your hands. There were a decent opportunity for some reversal there that I took. But it, when we had it, but then it wasn't. We're here to read and ride the waves, not try to force them to happen, which I'm fall guilty to time and time again. But we've already unwound almost half in this entire move in CGD as well. So the order in the flow is flipping. Coming back up now into the day session VWAP, the close session VWAP. Let's see if it holds as resistance right around here at this 30,380. If it does, right back down we could go. We clamber above. Dots come back green. There'll be a reason an uptrend to hop into. Right? We've already proven we can get up to 30,500 for the day. There's no reason it can't do it again. But we also need to be prudent and aware that sellers might be taking back or trying to take back control and what looks like a failed auction higher, because we moved higher in price, failed to hold on to it, and we're falling back down. Right now we're trading into the supportive level that you arguably would expect to bounce from on a big move like this. But and here the bounce we're seeing a little bit is in back above the VWAP is a good look, right? This 15-minute candle putting in a big tail. Let's see what happens. There's going to be some consolidation. Dots will flip back green. There'll be a reason to get back into this market. Okay, so Bitcoin did take a dive here in a new low of the day and has not seen follow through, which that kind of sucks for what I want to see. I was hoping to see a big flush. Seeing that support come in with the NASDAQ has me considering booking gains here and then thinking about getting back in. Because I could basically take a payday. I was busy explaining the NASDAQ though and missed, I feel like, the opportunity where I would have done that. So I guess I'm sitting in this one. Mixed dots, but man, tempting. If it can push above 30,400 here, for it to continue. I am cautious because I think the year session and an anchored VWAP off the highs that you can see effectively already traded could get a reaction again. So being cautious here. Don't get me wrong, I'm optimistic this market can recover, and very well could, but it's also a pretty volatile one where, for all intents and purposes, dots are mixed, and we could see a flush out. But far today, it's been a terrible idea to buy Bitcoin. Even though we were holding trend lines and it felt like a good trade for some people at some time. And that analog's still pretty nicely though. Let's see. Ooh. Where's that trend line coming from on the tick chart? On the NASDAQ. Okay, so this is like the original trend line on the NASDAQ from its highs. Which high you kind of use. We're basically heading into that lower right now, aren't we? I know, tough. I'm on my hands right now waiting for clarity from the markets. Truthfully, I've already booked my gains for the day, so everything from here on out is just practice. Practice running the stream, practice putting on trades, practice execution, and doing what I try to do, finding the patterns and structures that I believe are the most profitable for me. And also practicing not overtrading. how does the new dashboard, or maybe I gotta jump back on breakout. I got 100K eval sitting there. Yeah, you definitely should. I really enjoy the platform, the new platform, which is just Kraken Pro, which I'm very familiar with, Kraken Pro. So this is like, you know, taking me back to 2018 kind of thing, where I was trading crypto leveraged through Kraken, which they don't offer. Like, actually, probably couldn't get approved for it. But you have to be to show substantial amount of income and assets to get approved for, to be a qualified investor to be able to trade leveraged crypto through Kraken, which is a fully, you know. The dashboard there was very much the same, but that new, oh man, that really came up here in Bitcoin, motherfucker. Come on, bitches, I do not want to get back any more gains on this. I mean, granted, resistance is up into 72,850 now, right? But I really don't want to see a substantial bounce at this point, because this looks like a failed auction into lows. But I also am well aware, like, this market needs to fucking sneeze and it will be below 7,200 in a flash, which I genuinely believe is about to still happen. So it's gotta stop coming up. It really helped the NASDAQ broke down, not gonna lie. But I would definitely say give breakout another go. You bring up my dashboard and show you guys, I guess. All right. I mean, just as a quick, I would say, fun thing to look at, right? If you're going to go open a new evaluation, or like look at these, the pricing now has just come way down. A pro, the classic, the cheapest account now is it's $5K, $20, and for 5,000, the goal is $450 of profits. I mean, you can trade a fraction of a Bitcoin for that. You need to get to like the 25,000 to really start trading a full Bitcoin. But 10,000 I think works with it. But you've seen these turbos aren't bad if you're trying to maybe take one trade per account kind of thing. Lead 660 is expensive, but again, the amount of buying power you get, and the targets are substantially lower now, but these prices are so much better. The pro is still where I live. I went with the 100,000. It adds on, $100 of cost to make it a 90% split. I typically do that. I wouldn't necessarily suggest that for everybody, but $12,000 target's steep. But the fact you get a 5% drawdown over 2 days. So, okay, you take a up to $3,000 loss in your first day. You still have $2,000 worth of room on your second day to kind of get it back, which is exactly where I'm sitting on my funded account right now, right? I basically had a max loss day trying to get short Bitcoin. Came back the second day, since last night and into today, I was trying to, obviously sell the coin again. It took me out once break even. I covered the cost of the trade. And now I've got, the stop up there at that same level, but, to cover the cost of this trade again, and so that I can do it again if I need to. I really probably should take the profits on this, right? Because it's $3,000 that I could put in my pocket. 90% of that, right, would be paid out. All right, I'm a little greedy here. I'm kind of going for 100,000 here on my net payout, and I haven't had a payout with them since March. And these payouts are all kind of small, but whatever. Again, I'm going back. My early payouts are the best. Some of these just printed for that month of October when I switched basically from trading in hyperliquid over to breakout and was trading pretty big size, but nevertheless, their new terminal, which is their new trading platform, is based off of Kraken Pro, and it's much better than DXTrader. You get trading view charts in here. Usually, if you're not with breakout, you could probably go, and now you can now go with Kraken Pro, which is breakout living in Kraken basically. And this, what would be, Kraken Pro actual crypto account, you'd be flipping between your funded or your prop firm accounts and your live balance account, and then you get paid out right your Kraken account, which I get paid to my ERC whatever wallets, whatever wallet, like my USDC wallet, and I send it to Kraken anyway. But that would streamline the process, as I am a decent Kraken customer too, or have been for over a decade. I did it. Again, that trend line off the highs, rejection again at the NYSE session VWAP, and that anchored VWAP from the highs, back below the Globex VWAP. Dots are mixed. I mean, there's just nothing to do here but sit and wait. I'm probably going to call it for the day because at this point, this looks like a big failed auction. We caught every bit of the move up that I wanted to and needed to. Green dots, you lived with it. Dots went mixed now. We're hitting big key levels that if we fall through, definitely dots would flip the red somewhere down here, on a breakdown, which I'll need some kind of sticking around for just to see if we can't capture a little bit of that downside move, because I think it's going to be nasty. In the short term, after having printed a nice high into a pivot, falling back, it makes a lot of sense to actually pull back all the way down to the daily pivot at 30,140 at this point. So that's 300 points lower. There's going to be a lot of trading in between. I think that could happen, and I'm going to be, monitoring and waiting and looking for. Looks like the CFTC has announced their official advisory and trading, clearing, and settlement for event contracts, predictive markets. I mean, I think we all could agree that many of the prop firms and these new event contracts are, playing and skating with lines and regulation that can get oftentimes very hairy. Downward sloping trend line ROI did make it purple here on Bitcoin, still holding at 72,800. I think we sweep lows of the day here. If we were to dial in and we had another, because what we had here was the anchored VWAP off the highs. Oh, let's get that band multiplier on it. I'm willing to bet we hit the downside target on it. All right, so something I do is like anchored VWAP off highs. Off this swing, right? Okay, we came up and tested it at 72,300, perfect. When we were testing it there, the downside target for that was the get rid of this, there you go. The downside target for that was effectively, I want the bar pattern, I wanted this, there you go. They would make the 5-minute chart see a little bit more clearly. There we go. So, anchored VWAP off the highs. This is totally part of my trading style on Bitcoin. All right, we know you're coming off of an anchored VWAP already, right? That's that 74,000 level. This anchored deal with this purple line coming down. I know there's a lot of my charts, and it probably looks like cancer to your eyes, but it all makes sense to me, and I'm not going to change it. So deal with it. When we were trading into that VWAP up here at 74,000, basically, the standard deviation number 3. This is just a standard anchored VWAP tool. Band multiplier number 3, this third standard deviation becomes our downside target at the point it trades. So I just mark that on the chart with that yellow line. That's where down my 71,250 target, downside target, as well as like that analog I was looking at. Okay, so I had my downside target picked for this trade before I was taking it. We dialed that down now, but we look at, okay, the last reaction off that VWAP that started the trend lower here. You anchor VWAP there as well, and you can see obviously it traded and held those levels early. It went down to that, when it traded that VWAP the first time, really made it down to targets. Arguably, you can set a new VWAP from there and be in the next process lower, but you can make the case that this anchored VWAP yet again came up and traded there at 73,300. I'd mark where that standard deviation is and look, boom, right down into that. That's the target level. I mean, right down into that level is the target. It was also the old lows. Now I think it looks like the market's about to break and speed these lows, so I'm about to get kind of antsy in terms of maybe trying to trail stops and put blocking gains because, hey, I got $7,500 on the table here, $4,000 in profit and $4,000 in a trade that I could potentially take. And I don't want to just be obstinate and give a lot of good money back on a day where I could have a nice payday on Friday right now. Paid. But I am willing to wait this out because I spent a lot of time making sure I was short and free off of this VWAP and in the position I want with a big downside target that's still over twice the payday that I could easily have here into Friday night, right? NASDAQ continues to break down now. Dots are not totally red, so we'll come back to this in a second, but we are now below all the levels that I would say you'd maybe even want to think about being a buyer. So I'm waiting for red dots to flip, and then maybe we'll come back in. We've unwound this entire move up in terms of CDD at this point, and it just keeps pressing that luck lower. But to finish up the scenario and the synopsis on Bitcoin right now of why, of what I'm doing and looking at, you can now probably put on a new VWAP. Yeah, there it is. Amazing how that works, huh? A new VWAP from that new high. We bounced right at that resistance of 72,800. Now we can from it down to the 1 minute chart to kind of see that VWAP on it a little more clearly. There it is. A loose resistance. The downside, the standard deviation for it is actually down here at 72,100. So that's the downside target, having traded off this VWAP that now I'm looking for more or less a whole other short kind of setup. I don't know. It would look something like this. What you would do. Get this target here. This is so this is if you're going to be in and out and trade Bitcoin. This is the strategy of how I use VWAPs more or less at our risk, something like that. Every anchored VWAP just to potentially target, which gives me the setup that I'm currently in, which was being short here, waiting for a move to down here, something like that. Basically being able to risk $500 on the actual contract or potential for a $2,000 swing or more lower. But those are all anchored session or anchored VWAPs, trading basically to technical targets, all basically from the VWAP tool itself. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how I come up with price targets and trades in Bitcoin. A little bit of a bounce here. Damn it. Damn it. Here I am describing stuff. Probably would have gotten out there at 70,600 as it started to bounce, so now I'm not willing to. Alright, just be patient. Don't have faith. Keep the faith. Alright, we got like a decent trend line off the highs now. Market is definitely trending lower. Bitcoin's bouncing, that sucks. Probably coming up for a second test. I would not actually be surprised to see Bitcoin bounce all the way back to 7,300 altogether. And test that VWAP again. It would be testing, the lower bounds of the support. Or old, resistance. Or old support, now resistance, right? Breaking below this old level. Let's take a look at the volume profile real quick. Hide the bar pattern. Baker, CVD, and open interest. Interesting, open interest has been rising here. In the very near term, like as we come down here, somebody's trying to buy this up. That's absorption in the short term at support, but like, it's not buyers. It's not serious buyers, I should say. Like they get flustered out on a new low. Let me think and see here what we're gonna look at. Well, it doesn't matter. It work, by charts a little. Oh yeah, I mean, we got trend lines now off the highs we can talk about as well. Oh yeah, volume profile. We're gonna pull that up on this and kind of look. Yeah, that's your point of control is still all the way up at 73,000. So like we're going back up into this larger VWAP's out of the question. We've already held the low volume node as resistance. Throw it on the chart right here. Which seems very logical at this point. You just get back below these lows and it's gonna flush again. Just gotta wait for it and be patient. In the short term, you can see the last leg lower. But if I just bring it down to the low so we can see what you're reacting against all the way back up. Yeah, low volume node again there. Trades as resistance. Point of control is still way up there at 7,300. So again, not unexpected to see it go up there. I'm gonna include now the chop down here. Point of control is still up there with your low volume node now at 73. So again, I think there's big resistance if it wants to bounce. I don't want to watch it through it, but like, this is my next kind of the resistance zone here. You're going to get into one right now, very short term, but tell you what, coming off these lows, correlation with the Nasdaq's a little bit back on. But I also say that with a grain of salt because I think the Nasdaq is actually trying to find some resistance here. And I'll show you what I mean in a second. Trend line against the lows that bottled up this morning. Seems to be now the area that we came back up and just tested into. You saw mixed dots, this one stinking red dot or green dot, or macros is still green, so I'm hesitant to be a seller, but I see it pretty good. I mean, I shouldn't be because I see a pretty good bear flag to sell the breakdown of, which I'm going to go ahead and watch and we're going to take it. I'm going to take it if it goes because, oh wow, goes the other way, right? Bitcoin 2 spiking up, right up into 7,300. Motherfuckers. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully that's a quick spike and it's right back down. Yep, kind of looking that way. I keep fading Bitcoin, keep fading. 5-minute chart has a bit to go. They're trying to press the hourly here. I know what they're doing. I'm having a lot of regret not taking that profit down there at 72.50, 72,600, but that's then getting back in on the breakdown, right? Well, for all intents and purposes, we have just come back up to retest old Bergen support now as resistance, so let's see. But giving back at $3,000 right there sucks. Really, just that sucks. Blowing eyes on the prize. I've got a $15,000 target down there. And for all intents and purposes, I literally just finished saying how this wasn't very just unlikely. It was probably, or not just likely, it probably was going to occur. Get back up now into that point of control for multiple. Oh no, point of control's not here now on that larger one, on this last leg. But again, this is the low volume node as well as a point of control for our larger profile. It's also now back into its VWAP yet again, which now gives you a technical downside target if we get a reaction and head lower. No, all the way down to 7,200 now, so that's a $1,000 downside target if Bitcoin wants to roll over from around here. So it's gonna have trendline resistance. I mean, arguably you're just right back up into old support, now resistance. Over the next 10 minutes to set this hourly candle, I would love to see kind of reverse this hourly candle somewhat. I'd love to see it come on down. This is a nasty wick so far that I am fearful now it's going to go all the way back up to my stop, which I would just be so livid with. But that's Bitcoin trading for you. The only thing I could have done better this morning was take it against down here, which fucking live stream with. Nah, I can't put that over myself. Okay, so anchored VWAP off the highs, getting yet another tap. Can't get back above that Globex VWAP. Yeah, that's trying to go mixed again. A little bump from the CBD, but it's rolling over with price here. If too many candles still can't work out a higher high, so it's still lower lows and lower highs in 15-minute train. Yeah, I think we're coming all the way back down on this one. They arguably maybe missed an opportunity to kind of get short on that little trend line. Let's see how this one holds up. I just don't feel super confident without red dots right now in this environment, but hey. All right, get a little bounce, then give me chance to maybe sell 30,322 if it breaks on down below that level. We're kind of a sweep towards new lows. Bitcoin's coming off that high pretty good. Oh boy, 5 minutes ago in the hourly candle that was looking like it had a nice big wick, and I could see them take it back down to that 72,600 in the next 5 minutes, and then this doesn't look like a big old wick. But yeah, it could just go screaming higher and take out the 73,200 level and be all the way back up to where mine locking in profits or locking in some gain stop is, but being patient here. NASDAQ is coming back up for another testing that trendline resistance as well as a day of gold session VWAP. Thoughts are mixed. Not much for me to do but hang out. Wait. Not so certain I want to be just a blind seller at 30,022 anymore. Or wait for it to come down there again. They're buying this up. There's definitely new open longs opening up down here, which can go either way. That could become the fuel for the fire lower, as we are just technically running up into resistance at this point. The Aztec's still trying to flirt with that Globex session VWAP, that anchored VWAP off the highs, and NYSE session VWAP just above it at 30,400. What I'd be very wary of right now is a pop above 30,400 and then back down. A failed auction now into this area and collapse back down lower would be pretty nasty. Bitcoin, though, coming up here trying to close this hour and make me look the fucking fool. God damn it. I am fucking pissed now. Nothing to do, though. Dipping into that VWAP. Hitting that trendline resistance, though, with authority. Again, any kind of failed auction here and reversal lower, it's going to get nasty quickly, and that's still what I'm hanging on for. The Bitcoin has a tendency to just be this just like nasty. Like, it's tough. Like, you gotta sit through some, like, this is a 6 hour, $100 swing per contract. I got 6.5 contracts on. I mean, it's $4,000 swing from those to where we are now that I've given up. And I hate that idea. Absolutely hate it. Because I could have booked that. I could be getting back short again here. And, not even a more target, but if we do reverse from this level and head back down, though, I have a perfect level to trail my stop and make sure I have, once again, locked in full equity of 100,000 now, made back at least, the little bit of a drawdown I went into. So that's a plus, right? But we need to get that reaction from this area. Undoubtedly. The 1 minute here to the close of this hour. Let's see what happens. Looks the hourly candle, it's terrible for me. Hopefully it's still red. And it is. Which, if the next hour starts off straight down, this entire wick is going to get collapsed. It has absolutely become a bear trap. But that's a big ask, right? Because that wick does not look good for old Sith Trader over here. But money's doing pretty much what I'm expecting, right? I mean, for better or worse. The bounce in CVE right now is not super convincing. I mean, it's certainly a good amount, but wants to be a little bigger than that for me to feel confident. I don't know. Neon Stack's still flagging up here, kind of against trend lines and VWAPs, and the bears are struggling to keep it capped. The bulls are struggling to say, oh, no, we don't want to have this be all a failed auction. It fell and fall lower, but beating up my charts a little bit here while we wait. We long to see this now push back below 73,000 for the Bitcoin. I got a hunch the Nasdaq's going to roll over here. Don't have red dots, but I'm curious. I'm curious about getting short. They stop in here, 43.50. The targeted lows. Oh, it's not getting any reaction. Nope. Too aggressive. I am way early on my entries today. So now it's like, now you want to have a stop down there. Get this one watch take the room. Alright. Focus again here, buddy. mixed dots. Big reason why that trade was terrible. Right back up into the VWAP. Bitcoin also popping. Wow, they're gonna fucking rip here, aren't they? We'll see. Bit of a sideways triangle kind of price action. I mean, I'm equally interested, I suppose, on longs above 80, right? I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and just... Oh, stop, that's stupid. Well, I guess since... My god, there's too many out here, seriously. $30,340. Yeah, I'm getting to the time of the day here where taking trades really isn't advisable. We've got mixed dots. I mean, these are not A plus setups. I'll give you that. Bitcoin's rallying now too. We get above. You get back above these levels and again, feel like 79.50. I'm basically interested in a breakout from behind these trend lines at this point. No, I haven't seen the new Mandalorian movie yet. Seemed kind of, the reviews of it seemed childish, and she's unfortunate. At this point, I almost want like the hour to spike up and then come back down, but I hate to say that because like on Bitcoin, because this is a nasty hourly candle that we're now reversing, and I don't know. I'm really pissed off about this more or less 10-minute move higher. Like, what the fuck? Yeah, here it goes. Fucking bastards. Swear to God, Bitcoin is the most frustrating piece of shit to trade in the world. Anchor from prior highs with any VWAP, right? You have to anchor from places of major support or resistance that matter for swings. But I anchored VWAP right off the highs is now broken. You know, wonder if they're going to start and try to hold something from the lows now, which is fucked. So far down to this point, they're just short squeezing. This is stupid. What the fuck, man? Back to being down $1,000 on the account net. The swing rates here is we're testing back into basically old support, now resistance, and 50% of this entire move lower, right? It's okay. Whatever. Like, there's something to be said for it is halfway back into trendline resistance at this point. But I mean, I need this shit to roll over. Oh, I got filled on my short in the NASDAQ too, while not fucking paying attention over there. That's going to be a full stop body. I'm done for the day over the NASDAQ. That's ridiculous. I gave back too much there on my demo account. Or not really. Again, there's a reason I shut down the rest of my accounts, you know, for the day, and we've been just demo trading that. Because I got to concentrate on Bitcoin now anyway, because that's a stupid move I need to think through. That has come back to bite me in the ass. But yeah, no follows for right now. This is pretty choppy. We got mixed dots. I mean, take it as a learning lesson of like, what not to do, right? But with all the resistance here, I am curious if this is going to flush out to the downside. If it doesn't, we reestablish above these three VWAPs here. Yeah, new highs and up towards the R1 pivot for the day is probably not out of the question. You know, we continue lower. It's down to that daily pivot around 30,100, you know, that I foresee potentially happening. I'm over here looking wounds for a fucking Bitcoin trade now that's coming up against me, and they're going to come fucking stop me out. I'm so pissed right now. So with that being said, guys, I'm getting the hell out of Dodge. Better go touch grass. Fuck Bitcoin. I hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll be back with you on Sunday night for the next UOX Open. Stay frosty the rest of today, because it's going to be a interesting rest of the day session for sure. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And remember, trading features involves risk and is not suitable for everyone. Everything you see here today was just my own opinion and not trading advice. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll be back with you as price action develops.